All right, IM2 classes. Today we're continuing graphing quadratics. The functions are just going to be a little bit more involved. They're going to have a leading coefficient, a number in front of the x squared, and we're going to add a constant at the end. So just three quick examples here. So real basic. What do we do with the constant? We're just going to graph them the same way we graphed the last set. First thing we're going to do is make a table. In the first part of the table is going to be our domain, the x values, the y values, and we're just going to show our work in the middle part. All right. Picking the domain. This is up to you what you want to pick. Doesn't matter. For this one, it's going to be easiest if we just go -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Oops. All right, so I'm going to finish making this table. What I like to do when I'm doing this is write my function in here, replace the x's with parentheses. I'm going to do that for each. So it's x squared plus 4, x squared plus 4, x squared plus 4, and then x squared plus 4. So replace all the x with parentheses, and then I'm going to fill in the blanks in those parentheses with the x values. So -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And then from here, I need to evaluate. Just be careful with order of operations. You need to do the powers first and then add. So -2 squared, it's -2 times -2 is +4, plus 4 is 8. -1 squared, that's -1 times -1 is +1, plus 4 is 5. 0 squared is 0, plus 4 is 4. So I fill out the y values here. 1 squared is 1, plus 4, that is 5. And then last 2 squared is 4, plus 4 is 8. Once we have these values, just like last time, our x and y values here. So -2, 8, -1, 5, 0, 4, 1, 5, 2, 8. Those are going to be the ones that I am graphing. So I'll start. -2, 8 is right here. -1, 5. So one left one, up 5 is right here. 0, 4. So that's just up 4 on the y-axis. 1, 5. 2, 8. So right there. Connect your dots with a nice smooth line. And there we go. That's all there is to it. Let's look at a little bit more complicated function here. So not too bad. Still, I like to do my 3-column table and make it nice and big so I have room to do my work. So x values here, y values are going up here, and I'm going to use the middle column to show my work. I'm going to use the same values. These are going to get a little big. They're not going to fit on this graph, but that's okay. Actually, no, they'll still fit, barely fit. But that's okay. So -3, -1, 0, 1, 2. I know I said -3, I meant -2. I'm going to finish making my table as neat as I can. And then again, I'm going to fill in the function in the middle, and I'm going to replace the x with a set of parentheses. So it's 3x squared. I'm going to do this for each of them. Again, the reason why I do this all first is because I find I make less mistakes, because it's a lot of just tedious work doing it, calculating each out, and I just make less mistakes if I do it this way. So then in the parentheses, I'm going to put our x values. And you know what, this time I'm going to put those x values as a different color. So it's going to be -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, just so we can see what makes it a little bit more obvious where I'm filling in the x values. And then I'm going to do this work here. Make sure you are following proper order of operations. So negative, you got to do exponents first, and then multiply, and then do the subtraction last. So it's going to be -2 squared. -2 squared is +4. Nope, not what I wanted. So 3 times 4 is 12. -2 is 10. Here, -1 squared is 1. So it's going to be 3 times 1 -2. 3 times 1 is 3. -2 is 1. Yeah. 0 squared is 0. So you get 3 times 0 is 0. -2 is -2. And then if we're following the pattern, these are gonna end up like those up there. But -2 squared or 1 squared is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. -2 is 1. And then 2 squared is 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. -2 is 10. So these are our y values. So 10, 1, -2, 1, 10. And then you can see our points. It's going to be -2, 10. So I'm going to go left 2, up 10, all the way at the top. Barely fitting in here. -1, 1. So -1, 1, 0, -2. So this is going to be a tall and skinny graph. So 1, 1. And then 2, 10 up here. And then from there, once you have all the points plotted, oh, do that to me. Okay, no, got it there. Connect them with a nice smooth line if you can. All right. One more example. Fractions, great. So still, fraction isn't going to change anything. I'm going to make my table. Have my x and my y. I'm going to pick values because this is a fraction. I'm going to pick values that are going to make it easier to multiply. So I'm going to do multiples of 2. So I'm going to do -4, -2, 0, 2, 4. This is just going to make it easier. We're going to end up with whole numbers. If we used a 3 or something, it's going to make stuff fractions, and we don't want to have to graph fractions. So we might end up with some bigger numbers. That's okay. At least then we're just dealing with whole numbers. So -1/2 x squared plus 3, 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 and -1/2 x squared plus 3. Once I have that, I'm going to fill in all my values here. So it's going to be -4, -2, 0, 2, 4. And now just multiply this out. So -16 or -4 squared, that's going to be a +16. So -1/2 times 16 plus 3. So when you're multiplying by a fraction, it's the same thing as dividing. So multiplying by 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 2. So -1/2 times 8, or excuse me, step ahead, -1/2 times 16 is -8 plus 3 is, careful adding with the negative, that's going to be -5. -2 squared is +4. So -1/2 times 4 is -2, plus 3 is a +1. 0 squared is 0. 1/2 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. And then these will be the same as they are up here, but 2 squared is 4. So we get negative 1/2 times 4 is negative 2, plus 3 is a positive 1. And then 14 or 4 squared is 16. So negative 1/2 times 16 plus 3. Space at the bottom there, that's going to be negative 4 plus negative 8. Negative 16 times 1/2 is negative 8, plus 3 is negative 5. So now here are my points. So negative 4, negative 5. So negative 4, up 4, down 5 is right here. Negative 2, 1. So negative 2, positive 1 is right here. 0, 3, right here. Negative 2, positive 1. And then 4, 5. Then connect the dots with a nice smooth line. We'll try to get all of them. I missed, but that's okay. You get it. So when you're graphing these, make a table, take X values to go in the function, and then generate the Y values to get points to plot. Real simple. The only thing I'd recommend for today is just make sure your middle point is 0. That's going to be the easiest thing for you. That will do it. And we'll see you guys next time with some more graphing.